here we are, made it. I finally got myself some atomizers again, and would like to start out with introducing you to this one first. Here we go, put it in front of my face. This old camera doesn't know the focus, but you get it. It's the intake mouth to lung from MikeVapes and Augvape. And well, first of all, it probably is no secret that I like my mouth to lung. Not exclusively, I like my direct lung as well. But I'm a bit of a sucker for mouth to lung. Let's be honest. Proof osmosis anani. Here's the Augvape MD. There, this actually was my very first rebuildable atomizer, which is the Emmet mouth to lung from MikeVapes. Don't fall over. Then Berserker version 2. Yep, there she is. And the Holic on a squonker. So yeah, I like my mouth to lung. So obviously, I also like my intakes. I have the first intake. I have the intake dual. But I don't have the intake stock coil because I don't really deal in stock coil tanks. My wife does, and I set her up nicely with her stock coil tank. But I like my rebuildables, and I got myself the intake mouth to lung from MikeVapes. There are a couple of things which I like about the intake range, and let's see if this one will fit right in there. First of all, they have top airflow, so especially when I started out, that was kind of important to me, so I don't make a constant mess around my atomizers. And airflow is nicely regulated, and simple deck. Just all in all, a simple to operate but very tasty kind of atomizer. Now I'll did a quick down low. Never quick with me, but I did a down low. It's a normal down low as you're used for me, fumbling around, putting a coil in, being off camera, the normal stuff. But anyway, that maybe gives you an idea what's in the box, what it looks like, what the deck looks like, how the airflow works, and then we'll come back upstairs. See you in a bit. And here we are with the Augvape and MikeVapes intake mouth to lung RTA. That is what is in the box, apart from a very basic instruction manual and a guarantee card. You'll get a bubble glass. That is something you would like to use. You'll get the option to extend the capacity, which obviously is always great. So for a mouth to lung, probably not as critical as it would be for a cloud chucking dual coil device. Then you obviously get your spare parts. We have here in the box coils. We'll use some of them because that's what I do. I'm not quite sure what these coils are. They don't say in the instruction manual. And they don't say on the package. I have no idea what coils they are. They appear to be, they say Clapton coils in the instruction manual, so that's what I think they are. So let's take them out because we are going to use them. Oh God, if I can get this open here. There we go, I managed. And then there are some other interesting bobs and bits in. Right, still haven't got one of the coils. I got it now. There's my coil. I got grub screws, Phillips head screws. And then I got my silicone seal for the top cap. And then I got these things here. Let me line them up for you. Here we are. Still a grub screw, which we don't want to lose. I'll show you in a minute what this is all about. These are air intakes. Obviously we have seen air intakes before, other mouth to lung, especially mouth to lung, or those atomizers who attempt to do both mouth to lung and direct lung. Lots of them operate with either air intakes of some or other form. Let's get that here in the middle so we can We can zoom in here a little bit so you can see a little bit better. There we go. There they are. Air intakes, you see, from small all the way up to big, and there's a medium one in the atomizer itself. Very nice. I like air intakes because I like that the air is regulated underneath the coil mainly. That for me is the most important regulation, and anything else from outside, that is just how you regulate the air. It comes in from the outside, but to make sure that you direct the coil with a good pressure to the center of your coil, the bottom airflow is the one which matters, especially for mouth to lung. Well, let's zoom out a bit, otherwise we'll be out of shot all the time. So that's how that works. Then let's start from the top here. We have, which I think is an attractive atomizer. We have a 510 double O-ring drip tip right over here. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, see it? Yeah, there it is. Then we have the quarter turn bayonet fill, which comes as standard to all intake atomizers, and it has a slight rim. Not really, it doesn't actually have a rim. Yeah, it doesn't have a rim, so it's not recessed. I like it when it is a little bit recessed, millimeter or two, so if you per accident put in just too much juice in, it doesn't immediately spill out of the atomizer. It doesn't have that. It has the airflow. While we are here, let's have a closer look at the airflow. Will you zoom in for the airflow? You see single hole airflow right over here from big, and it goes to small. That's it. And then if you go to this side, you also have an airflow. But this one seems to be, well, it is a slot airflow, and you can open a couple of holes and you can close them, obviously, until you get to the smallest hole, which even appears to be smaller than the smallest hole on the other side. Smallest hole on this airflow. So you can really, really quite a spectrum which you can go through. How did MikeVape do it? Let's have a quick look what was done. Well, you have the slot air intake here on top for your higher airflow needs, and then you have the normal little hole on the other side. And this is how you actually can regulate your airflow quite nicely. There we go. We just lost our phone here, our camera, but we have it back, so that's good. Do I have it the wrong way around? No, I did have it the right way around. Okay. So here we go. It slots in so that you don't make a mistake with inserting the airflow ring wrongly. That's very clever. So let's put it on with a quarter turn again. Then we have intake branding, again with the normal intake font here. It looks a bit like, you know, the comic font which we all like when we were in school. Intake mouth to lung. And then obviously at the bottom no airflow because it's a top airflow. And here we just have, so you can see it here in the light, MikeVapes and Augvape. I have number 714. I guess it's the first batch still. And that's it. That's it on the outside. So let's open it up and let's have a look at the business end. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen, everybody and their dog who had the intake, and rightly so. I still rock it today. It's one of my favorite tanks. The normal first intake. Will recognize this immediately. This is also turning. If I remember correctly, this was metal on the first intake. This seems to be some sort of plastic, maybe heat resistant plastic of some other form. So that is that. But obviously must you never be out that hot. You have a reasonably thick glass on here, and that's a top cap Then we go airflow and obviously the top cap. Then we get to the build deck. If I, with my Wars fingers, get this screwed on here. Here we go. Managed. Right. Here's the build deck. And you see that? And the other thing I see, there are no screws on the build deck. So I need to fiddle out some screws out of the package. That's interesting. I've never had a build deck which came without screws. And there also is, if you look, let's get really close and see if we can. You see there are arrows there where the screws should go in. It tells you that the screws have to be turned counterclockwise. Counterclockwise to close it and clockwise to open it. So in other ways, the other way around than what we are usually used to. I believe MikeVapes has done that to make sure that the wires do not mangle up as badly when you screw them in. I'm sure he had a very good reason. Personally, I don't think it was really necessary, but well, that's what he did, that's what he went for. Right, I'm finding screws here, ladies and gentlemen. Well, they're all the same. Yeah, that's really odd. I think that's my first stripper who ever had no screws. Oh yeah, and here we go, trying to screw it in the wrong way around. Alright, another screw. So yeah, be warned. There are no screws in the deck. That's interesting. No train smash, of course. Just take the screws out of the back and put them in, but I just find it interesting. Right. Now for our next trick, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna pop the supplied wire in. We leave the air, what it is, which is rather a medium kind of air hole, which is installed here, and the wire goes in between the screws and the clamp. You see it has a nice lip over there, and then you just clamp them in. Well, let's do it. Here's my wire. I must put it there. So yeah, so you have to put in your wire a certain way, so be aware of that. So you only have two legs, so your wire must be wound a certain way. Oh yeah, here I'm screwing my screws in the wrong way. Yeah, that takes some getting used to. I'm telling you that. And this coil which I delivered with the atomizer is not working as well as. So that's out. That's out. Yeah, this will be a normal roll and fiddling session. Screw it in. That seems to be in. It looks a bit mangled, don't worry about that, we can fix that later. And then we screw it in like this. Am I screwing it? Yes. Boy, that really can fiddle with your mind when you're used to screwing one way. Anyway, so that is that. Still mangles the coil, so I don't think it's a success to. That's a bit high. I normally wouldn't use these coils, but when they put coils in the package, I kind of expect that there are coils which will work for the application they send it out for. So this is only a 4-rep Clapton. I will tell you in a minute what it comes out to. Boy, oh boy, there's a mission to get this coil in here. Let's try centered over the air hole. We seem to have done that. Lift it up just a tad. Here we go, we seem to be there where we want to be, around about 1 millimeter over the air hole, and more or less in the center, Mr. Fainter. Right, let's cut the leads. Let's see what these coils come out to. I would assume they're NR80s. Yeah. Counted 0.68 for I burn them in. Give them some quick pulses. Right, let's just do a gentle rake here. And that seems to have done the trick. Right, what we're going to do now is put in some cotton. How about that? Right, let's find some cotton here. There we go. That's a nice piece. See, way too much, way too thick, so we'll tease some off here and put it in. So you can take the glory. Then we cut it round about here and round about here. What I did, I just rested my scissors there at the ledge at the bottom. And then what we're going to try to do is to put this cotton into the juice valve. So we just push it towards the coil softly, and when we push it towards the coil, we basically just let it fall into the juice opening. It gets fed here from the bottom, that's where the juice come in. You can see very fluffy, just a little bit of cotton there. You don't want to actually block that. That would be bad, and you probably will end up getting a dry hit. Yes, you can get a dry hit even on a mouth to lung, especially with a coil which is around about 2.7. That is very well possible if you block off the juice valve. That of course you don't want to do. So as you can see, I very gently just tease the cotton in, and once again, if you look here, you see that the cotton is just peeking out there from the bottom. And we'll just have another check. Our coil is still more or less in the position we want it to be in. That looks all to be fine. It's just a little bit of a red wire over here. There we go. Got it off. Very nice. What you can see, this is just gives you a bit of room to the cap. So if you don't cut 1000% flush. It will not short. Right, and that is basically it. It is really you don't need to be a miracle worker to wick and coil this. It's not it's not everything falls in and jazz everything together. It's not like that, but it is easy enough. You certainly can have a go, and you also have the top airflow, so leaking is not an issue. And that's her wicked up and coiled up. We'll juice her up a little bit later, and I'll see you upstairs for some final thoughts. Cheers. And here we are back upstairs with the intake master lung from MikeVapes and Augvape. And as you have just seen, I fumbled my way through a coiling and wicking session, and I got it coiled and wicked, and still have the same coiling here. Rewicked it now a couple of times, so I had it going for quite some time. And I will just a quick facet of what I think about it after I used it. Are there cons? The coils that come with it, a bit dainty, 4 reps. I normally use a different kind of dual Claptons, which require 6 reps, so makes the coil a bit more stable, makes it more substantial, more comfortable for me to wick on. But the coils work, still in there, and they work like a bomb. And the other thing is the air intake underneath the coil. Now the thing is, I tested them, and what I had to do every time I wanted to put a different intake in there, I had to get the coil out. Then I could unscrew the air hole underneath the air hole insert and screw a new air hole insert in. Now, while unscrewing and screwing is simple enough, the fact that you have to take the coil out every time, wick out, coil out every time, and do that is a bit of a fuff. Obviously we always compare, so on the Berserker they obviously have that different solution where you could leave your coil and your wick and everything in, and you could just slide out your air intake. I thought it was pretty cool. Disadvantage was when you get your coil too hot, that was peak insulator, these air holes, when you get your coil too hot and or too close to the peak insulator, there's a chance of it melting. These are metal inserts, no melting in there. But on the other hand, I mean, once you have found what you want, and so what I would suggest is put them all in, take a drag before you put your coil in. Put your different inserts in, and take a drag and see what you like. We all have a pretty good idea what kind of air resistance we would like. So obviously, if you put the smallest hole in, then the top airflow regulation doesn't regulate that much, because it all gets regulated through the bottom. But it obviously, you open it full up and you make sure that you get the full strength of the airflow through your little hole at the bottom. I put in the end back the medium one, which was the one which it came with, and I like it a lot. That's the juice I have in there. It is a berry cheesecake which you get locally here by us. Works very well, and 6 milligrams, so that's what I mouth to lung, and let's take a drag. As I said, I have the medium air hole in, I have the airflow open on the slot, all open but the biggest one. And to be quite honest, even if you do open the biggest one, it doesn't make much of a difference. The air gets very nicely regulated from the bottom. That's how I like my master lung. I like my master lung not open at the bottom. I like it restricted at the bottom, so that the air which comes through actually gets jetted against the coil. What I do like, well, first of all, I think it's a looker. Very, very nice. If you have it in black, it's even nicer. I got it in silver, so it shows up better on the video. It comes with a bubble glass. If you put it in with a bubble glass, it will last you for a fair amount of time. It has the top airflow, which obviously is great, because when you have the top airflow, then you your chances of nicking it up, or making it, when you make a mistake and it starts leaking on you, it's not going to leak out onto your atomizer. And it has the bayonet filling, which I like very, very nicely. Quarter turn. That's the simplest kind of filling method. It's my favorite one. Comes with a nice 510. It's long enough. MikeVapes normally is known for his, 2mm mouthpieces. This one seems to be between 10 and 12mm, so that's ideal. That's cool. I like that a lot. And the most important part, obviously, is how is it for flavor? Well, it is delicious. It is ideal. I have it at 16 watts. The coil comes out at 0.65. Does it really? Let's unscrew and screw it back on. 0.75, I thought so. So it comes out at 0.75, and it is it tastes delicious. It really does. It is a very nice, solid build atomizer, and I think you can have fun with this for a long, long time. It is for the mouth to lung vapor for sure, but you can have a restricted mouth to lung, the famous golf ball garden hose scenario. You're safe with that one, you can do that. Or you can have a medium draw, which I have now, or you can have it wide open, but it still stays the mouth to lung. It's not a direct lung atomizer. It's not built for that. That's not what it's made for. It is a mouth to lung RTA, and it certainly is a very versatile mouth to lung RTA. It is a very tasteful, flavorful, mouth to lung, and for your mouth to lung vapors. You don't want to drain your battery in half an hour, and you don't want to drain your juice in 5 minutes, and you want to come over to the dark side to have mouth to lungers. Well, I think that is a very good option. So if you start out with mouth to lung, this is a very good option. If you start out with RTAs, I think this is a very good option. Easy to wick, easy to coil, easy to work on. Something goes wrong, turn it over, open it up, make your necessary correction, close it up, and off you go again. It is really an easy, flavorful, to operate mouth to lung atomizer, and I can only very, very highly recommend it. So if you see it somewhere, you want to come to the mouth to lung side, you want to come to the RTA side, I think this might be something you would like. Even if you come, let's say, from an AIO, and you are used to that kind of loosey-goosey mouth to lung which an AIO gives it, you can replicate with this, and you don't need to buy stock coils anymore. Now that was it. That's about the intake from MikeVapes and Augvape mouth to lung, and awesome Etty. Buy it. Simple. Cheers, guys. Have a good one. Greetings from Cape Town.